Just as the casket was about to be lowered, the roar of an engine interrupted the somber scene. A car pulled up and everyone turned to see who it was. To their shock, it was Ade-Ife. She had gone home to bring Captain, Sam's loyal dog. Gasps and whispers rippled through the crowd. Why would the sane person bring a dog to a funeral? Adama muttered under her breath, her annoyance barely concealed, but Ade-Ife didn't care about the looks she was getting. She walked determinedly towards her brother's grave with Captain, allowing the dog to pay its last respect to its master. The pastor said a brief prayer and the pallbearers began covering the grave. The cries of the mourners grew louder, mingling with the sound of the earth being shoveled over the casket. As the grave was nearly covered, dark clouds rolled in and suddenly a heavy rainstorm broke out. Everyone scattered, running for shelter. Their mourning cries now drowned out by the pounding rain. But Captain refused to move. The dog stood by the grave, barking and whimpering, its paws frantically digging at the fresh earth. After everyone had left, Ade-Ife remained standing nearby under an umbrella, watching Captain's strange behavior. The rain poured down, soaking everything, yet Captain didn't budge. Ade-Ife's heart pounded as she watched the dog. Could it be that Captain was so deeply attached to Sam that it couldn't leave his side? Or was there something more to this? Ade-Ife's mind raced as she contemplated the possibilities. The dog's frantic digging, its refusal to leave even in the downpour, these were not just signs of loyalty. They were signs of distress or of something deeply wrong. And as the rain continued to pour, Ade-Ife made a decision. She wasn't going to let this go. She was going to get to the bottom of whatever it was that Captain sensed. The rain had prevented the tombstone from being laid, leaving the grave unfinished. Ade-Ife knew this was her only chance. It was now or never. That night, with determination burning in her heart, she took Captain and quietly slipped out of the house, driving straight to the cemetery. The sky was still heavy with clouds, and the air was thick with tension. Ade-Ife pulled over at the cemetery gates, her hands shaking slightly as she made some calls. Within minutes, she stepped out of the car, Captain by her side. The cemetery keeper approached her, his expression wary.
"Madam, what do you want here at this hour?"
he asked, trying to sound official. Ade-Ife didn't bother with explanations. Instead, she pulled out a wad of cash, peeling off several notes and placing them into his hand. His demeanor changed instantly. The suspicion in his eyes faded, replaced by a greedy smile.
"No problem, madam. I will open the gate for you,"
he said, pocketing the money. As the gate cracked open, Ade-Ife drove inside, parking near Sam's grave. She looked around nervously, then saw two men approaching, the men she had called earlier. They were strong, rough-looking, and used to handling dirty jobs. Captain, who had been silent during the drive, suddenly began whimpering again. The dog sniffed the air, then the ground, before starting to dig furiously at the earth that had just been laid over Sam's coffin. "Shebi una don see am. Oya, start to dig," Ade-Ife commanded, her voice trembling slightly with anticipation. The men exchanged uneasy glances but quickly got to work. The rain from earlier had softened the ground, making it easy to dig, but the work was still grueling. The night was eerily silent except for the sound of shovels hitting the earth and Captain's persistent whining. After what felt like an eternity, the men's shovels struck something hard. They paused, then carefully cleared away the remaining soil until the top of the coffin was fully exposed. The wooden casket, now smeared with mud, lay before them like a terrible secret unearthed. Ade-Ife's heart pounded in her chest as the men slowly lifted the coffin out of the grave and set it on the ground. She felt a cold sweat trickle down her spine as she nodded to the men, signaling them to open it. One of the men hesitated, his hand hovering over the lid.
"Madam, you sure say we're supposed to do this?"
he asked, fear creeping into his voice. Ade-Ife didn't waver. "Open am, abi I no pay you," she ordered, her voice sharp. The man swallowed hard and did as he was told. The lid creaked open, but wetin I see, mouth no fit talk am.